We are the Master Traders Podcast.
We are the Master Traders Podcast.
We are the Master Traders Podcast. Oh my goodness, it is me, it's the slithery little sneaky snake, the snake daddy Matt Keck alongside me. It's the light of my life.
Paul, what if Britney and Dolores are traitors?
Shields.
Shields. Dolores and Britney and Gabby are traitors.
And Gabby are traitors.
My bad, I'm sorry.
No, I like it.
It's my name.
It's your nickname.
And I messed it up.
Well, you didn't give yourself the nickname, so you're learning it. You're catching it on.
I forgot. Yeah, it was in high school.
If this is your first time joining us, I'm shocked, but welcome. This is the finale of Season 3 of the Traitors US, and you know, what a season it was. We got to meet a lot of new people. We got to see some of the most boring traitors of my life make it all the way through. We've got to see some of the most interesting traitors I've ever seen get booted real fast, but we also got to see some of the best drama in the history of the show. But before we get to the ending, let me break it on down and tell you why we're here. You see, me and Polly are a couple of comedians from Kansas City who used to go to Comic-Cons, and we got familiar with a game called Ultimate Werewolf. Ultimate Werewolf is essentially like a card game, board game version of the Traitors. The Seer, that's a power that's in Ultimate Werewolf. And so this is a game we played week in, week out with all sorts of people. Friends, family. We'd invite people over just to play werewolf.
Enemies,
yeah, frenemies,
Hatsy,
nemesises. I remember Hatsy. Hatsy was this guy who wore a hat that I didn't know, but I liked him. He was funny enough. But we were nemesises in the game, right? So I called him Hatsy just to kind of get to him. So he comes out the next day wearing a coonskin hat. So you know what I had to do? Rename him. Coonskin Hatsy.
Coonskin
Hatsy. Man, what a time that was. And so we've played this a million times, and we're going to break down like the strategy, what we would do, all that stuff. You guys know it. You guys love it. That's why we're here. Shout out to Kansas City for making it onto the list, right down next to Fresno. What's up? And so we are here to say we got to see who Britney voted for finally.
Yeah.
She voted for Danielle, which is exactly what we expected.
Yep.
And Danielle's little ETS did exactly what I thought she would. Guilt tripped her immediately. You did it to me again. Danielle is trying really hard to build herself up as some character, I think, on this show. And I think she did a horrible job of it because all I've seen is people hating on her.
She did not do good.
No, she wasn't fun to watch. Every move she made was confusing and
cringy.
Dumb. She was so cringy.
She was obviously a traitor, and ever since the shooting, doing the picture thing.
Yes.
Ever since the picture thing,
it was
she was
the most
obvious a traitor.
And even worse, her legacy for the finale is unfortunately setting up the worst recruit in traitor history because it was so obvious who would be the traitor from this point on.
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully, that terrible recruit did decide to get rid of her. I do love that Danielle in the back goes, I'm definitely a traitor. And then when she goes in the back, she's like, I should have killed her. You know, that's what I should have done. I should have killed her. Well, yeah. Duh. Well, you just now figured that out? Now that you're dead, you realize you should have killed her? That's what the game is.
Yeah. When she did that, Britney looked over at Dolores. Was like, gave her the look like, I thought you were going to vote for.
Yeah, she tried really hard to sell it like she wasn't gonna turn on
Dolores was like,
her.
don't look at me.
Yeah, what are you doing? I don't think anyone was all that sad to see Danielle go, honestly. But we do find out that there will be no murder by the traitor or traitors if they still exist, which they do. It's Britney. And we find out there will be no more reveals until the end of the game. So they're still going to kill one more time, but they won't reveal who they are. Then we get the seer.
Yeah.
And the seer power goes to our remaining traitor, Britney. Now, if you're her...
Britney says,
how do
there's
you
a couple
play
things
this?
I saw before
Yeah,
it comes in.
Yeah.
Britney says, she says she feels like she made too big of a show.
Yeah, she
really
does say
says
that. Yep, and she's right. She did.
Yes, she did. And and Dolores goes, after Danielle's kicked out, she's like, "Oh yeah, I would have never thought it was Danielle. She should have got an Oscar."
Yeah,
for the
man.
way she convulsed on the floor.
When I heard her say that, I was like, Dolores is bad. A bad judge of acting. Dolores is the reason that one guy won the Best Actor award for that horrible Queen movie. That's Dolores's vote made that happen. Oh, man. Yeah, Dylan also kind of picked up on the betrayal aspect, too, when Danielle was leaving. He picked up on Danielle kind of targeting Britney as she went around the table, said everything nice. And then the way she looked at Britney and said, "You did it to me again." I mean, it's not really a betrayal if Britney's a faithful and killed a traitor. So Danielle kind of not only picked her, and she also made it obvious a little bit.
They have beef before this.
Totally.
She should have. Britney should have. I didn't hear her bring it up once.
Mm-hmm.
About it to, like, when anybody was accusing, when Dylan was accusing her of, of bringing up that particular point.
Yeah.
Because he sat down with her and they were talking about that particular point that she had said to her, "You did it to me,"
Right.
but again, or whatever. But they've had beef.
Right, that's true. They do
and
have
when
past
they came
beef.
in, she should have said, "Well, she has."
She
beef.
could definitely have covered.
She thought I would have.
She could have totally
Yes.
covered it, but it still was not great. Thanks, Danielle, on the way out.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, she could have definitely covered it. Now, if you're Britney and you're the seer, who are you picking here?
If I'm Britney and I'm the seer,
Yeah.
I don't.
It's tough.
Yeah,
I don't know
I
if
think
it
she did
necessarily-
fine.
Yeah, I do
think
too.
Gabby
I don't.
was a
I
fine
think it was a
pick.
fine choice too.
Because people.
I don't
had
know if
a
that's
deal
who I
against-
would have picked, but I don't
against
think it
Abby.
would have mattered.
The only other one really I think could have been Ivar.
I think there's a play for Ivar, but I literally think Britney just did not want to have to sit down for a one-on-one dinner with him. I legitimately think that this whole game she's talked about how he's boring, he's just a bag of tea. Like, I legitimately think she was just like, I can't do that. I'm just going to pick Gabby. Which, fair. Like, that's fair. I get it. I think Gabby was funny and cute, which is like, I feel like I'm back on The Bachelor.
when they
sitting
came
down
in,
for
yeah,
dinner. She's worried about being framed for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I think Britney did the right thing by when they come back out, not framing her,
and not saying she's a
saying
faithful.
she's a faithful.
Yeah, she had to.
If she would have,
Dylan made a big deal of saying
Mm-hmm.
that if Britney's a traitor, she's gonna come out and say that Gabby's a traitor,
right,
and try to pin it on her.
right.
Yeah, which makes no sense.
No, why would anyone ever do that?
Why would you do that?
No.
No. You say you're faithful, and then you tell her you're faithful. Now you've got a partner.
Yep.
Who you now have convinced that
Yeah, you must both be faithful.
Call her out.
Right. Exactly.
Right? You got
You
much
at least got a level of
more
trust.
leverage. If
Yeah.
you do try to say she's a traitor,
Mm-hmm.
now you've got a freaking. Now you got somebody gunning against you.
Yep, that's exactly right. So why would you do it? You wouldn't.
Yeah. Because obviously now they know you're the traitor.
Bingo. Yep.
If you say she's a traitor, they know you're the traitor.
Yeah,
So now it's you against them.
And when we get to the table later, Britney actually has a slip-up that no one calls her on about that I'll call out here in a second. So...
Yeah, I don't know why Dylan thought that was even... Because after she came in and said that she was... after they came to the breakfast table...
Yeah.
And then they're like... And she says, Gabby is a faithful.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells him, and Dylan acted like he was flabbergasted.
He just couldn't believe that she would do that.
This is not how it goes.
Not how I expected this at all.
Not unless...
Dolores did have a great quote at breakfast where she said that this was all emotional, and she goes, "Wait, this isn't emotional. I don't have emotions. That's for pussies." Get him, Dolores. Also, I want to mention that Ivar's jacket that he wore looked exactly like a Knight's Tale when he needs a jacket for the dance and he makes one out of the tent that he's sleeping in. It's like the exact same jacket that Heath Ledger wears. I kind of want to know if it's the same one a little bit. But yeah, I mean, Dylan's just so confused here. He just flabbergasted. They go back to him backstage. He's like, "Oh, man, wait a minute. What if Gabby and Britney are..." He just cannot leave Gabby alone.
Yeah.
It's so funny. You know, at this point, it does get hard because no matter what, if there's a traitor, you're fucked. And there's a lot of people left. You don't expect this many faithfuls to win in a game with all of these great game players. You had Derek West, Boston Rob. You had the Britney Danielle combo. You had Jeremy from Survivor, and you had CAROLYN from Survivor, and you had the annoying Jersey guy. You had all these gamers.
And now there's no gamers.
Now there's none.
Only
Except for
one
Britney.
game.
Britney's the last one
last
left.
gamer.
And you know who else is still in this game that was full of gamers? The brother of an actor. A 23andMe royal.
Ivar.
Mm-hmm. One of the housewives. And the Bachelorette. None of these are gamers. And they're the ones that outgamed all of these epic gamers. Love that. The only one still there is Britney. And Alan comes in, does the whole thing, sparkly purple robe number. Big hat. I like the hat. I do like that the undershirt's got the cords.
The undershirt really sold the deal. I like the undershirt.
I think that was the way that clicked me all the way up to a clear finale ending. 5s across the board. And I just want to say, before we go, the pooch wearing the king outfit.
Oh, yeah.
10s across the board.
10s.
10 out of 5. Good doggo. Good doggo. So right now, they have $166,800. Dylan talks to Britney about Danielle. He knows she's acting. She knows he knows. Dolores doesn't trust Ivar. Ivar doesn't trust Dolores. Britney starts pushing Dylan to Gabby. That seems to be Britney's move. She decides she's going to go Dylan.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the move?
I think that's, it's
a move.
Yeah,
I could see it.
It's
something.
I think she started pushing it there because she had the most evidence. She was able to, the most stuff she could have to back it up.
Yep, and she clearly, like, later on, she starts laying it out. And she clearly, it was a smart move for that regard. I do think it makes more chronological sense for her to have tried to bring up Ivar because she had just voted for Ivar, which is almost a revealing factor to make it obvious she's a traitor if she doesn't cover up for it. And two, because Dolores is already thinking Ivar, so you've got almost an automatic swing vote. There's only 5 people left. If you get 1 vote, that's 2 votes. You only need 1 more person to go your way. I mean, I don't know. I get where she was going, though, because she had the evidence, so that clearly seems to be her angle, and it's time for the mission.
I think her voting for Ivar would have been tough, though.
Yeah.
It's so easy to see through it, though.
Yeah.
Because Danielle moved to Ivar.
Yeah.
And she wasn't trying to argue with him at all.
Yeah.
She was obviously trying to. Ivar's obviously
Yeah.
is a faithful from that because
I mean,
she was trying to.
you're not wrong.
Move it off onto something else that she and by the way she argued with CAROLYN and everyone else.
Yeah.
She would have been doing that already if
You're right.
if Ivar had been.
You're right. And I think really what we're getting down to here is that Britney probably makes one of one or two choices that she has left, right? She's in such a bad position.
She doesn't have a lot of choices.
Yeah, she's in such a bad position that there's not a good choice for her left.
Yeah.
Danielle literally flipped the Monopoly table and they weren't keeping track of where the money was, and now Britney's screwed. Yeah.
Except for if she had voted. What would have happened if she had voted for Ivar in there instead of Danielle?
And Ivar had gotten out?
Yeah.
I mean, they would have revealed he was a faithful, but they would have had the numbers. They have 2 to 3.
Yeah, right.
I think at that point, they maybe could have won the game.
Yeah, so if her switching,
she maybe should not have voted for Danielle.
Was not a good option.
Yeah, she potentially should have just
and
stayed
she would have
with
stayed
Ivar.
with what she would have voted for in the first place.
That was the move.
Yep, and then Britney would have had the.
With hindsight, that was for sure the move. I didn't think it was the move, but that was the move.
Yeah.
Yep. Damn.
Yeah, she didn't have enough.
Because they would have had the numbers.
And she had screwed her over.
Yeah,
at
for
that
sure.
point.
For
I mean,
sure.
I know she wasn't thinking about that.
They could have played Dolores to get Dylan out easy, though.
Mm-hmm.
And then they win.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, they just win.
Yeah, and she got Seer, so she would have been able to easily.
She could have picked Danielle and said Danielle was a faithful.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. She did. She messed up. She shouldn't have voted for her. You're right.
Yeah, I think that's
You're
the
right.
move that she didn't. Watching her this and like how she was at the round table.
Yeah.
And the things she said, like the like when she says, "I feel like I made too much of a scene."
Yeah.
Out there, unlike Danielle, who never friggin'
She didn't care. She
didn't
makes too
know
much
when
of a
she
scene.
made a scene. She
No
thought that was
self-awareness.
The good thing, I think, Britney would have been 100 times better traitor than Danielle would have been.
If she would have
from
been
the
able to
beginning.
start, yes, they should have. But she just comes in
Instead
at the
of
worst
Danielle.
moment. Yeah,
Because
because she honestly plays her horrible hand pretty well. Like she does a good job with this horrible position she's
very.
in.
I mean, this is the first deal where I was like, oh, she's smart. She knows her arguments. She knows what
she at least has a
where she's
plan.
Going.
Yeah, she has a good plan.
She knows where she goes bad. I thought she did well.
And she's
so
self-aware.
Like, she would have been.
Oh, she should have
She
been
was the pick instead of Danielle.
She
would
would
have traitor.
Well,
in the
and
beginning.
she would have played with CAROLYN. She understood CAROLYN's strengths. She immediately understood CAROLYN's strengths when she saw that CAROLYN had been a traitor.
And she would have not been immediately going.
No, she would have been using
out.
CAROLYN, and
Yes.
CAROLYN would have played along with her, and they would have probably dominated. Oh, man. So we get to the mission with the king dog, who's looking great. The mission is that they have to take these scrolls, follow these clues, go find this gold that's with these old cars, and drive it back. It's basically like a James Bond mission. Gabby even calls Ivar James Bond a bunch of times. So the first clue is they get this scroll open, and there's this big map, and they have to go somewhere where you can't hunt the thing, and it's a unicorn. So they drive to the forest. And then they get another map, and they have to follow that to the gate. And then they have to do some math, and we get one of the best quotes of the entire show. As Britney does her times tables, she multiplies. She multiplies, and Gabby says, 23 times 4. Britney must know, like, her periodic table or something. Yep. She knew the atomic weight of neon. That's how they got the door open. No! She multiplied. That's not the periodic ass table. Come on.
Gabby.
Gabby, this is what happened. This is why you didn't do well on The Bachelorette. No good with chemistry. Nailed it.
Nice.
Sorry, Gabby. You're amazing.
Nice.
I love you. Congrats on the wedding. You were hilarious. So they get to the place in time. They drive the money back. It seems like the easiest mission in the world, but they do spice it up. as a helicopter shows up, and they have to pair up, and Ivar goes alone because no one wants to get too close, and they have to hang from the helicopter, and then they have to drop the money into the ring of fire, and if they get it in, it doubles, and so they go through, and it's, there's not much here. They just all kind of
This whole mission was lame.
Yeah.
The only thing that this did...
Give them some more money.
What I don't know if
it kind of made Dylan and Gabby friends a little bit because they went up together.
Yeah,
yeah, and I think that helped him at the end.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because they did. She was like, "Now I trust him, but like, don't tell anybody." And then she said to him right there, "I'm so glad I did this with you. I trust you." Right after saying, "Don't tell anybody." She's so hilarious. They missed half. But they got half.
Yeah.
So they got $37,500, which is roughly double what they left behind in the mission in the very first episode. Had to bring that one back up. But they do have a final prize pot of $204,300, which means the amount they left behind in the first mission is roughly 10% of the final prize pot. That's a large percentage. I'm glad he's my partner, but don't tell anyone. So they get back. Britney starts pushing Dylan to Dolores and Gabby. Dylan's on Britney. He's a little unsure on Gabby. Britney seems like she's convincing Dolores, but then we cut to the back and Dolores is just like, I'm not trusting anyone. And to be fair for Dolores at this point, okay. I half expected her to vote for Tom again, if I'm being honest. She's not even there. I expected her to write his name down.
She says, I'm using my brain to vote this time.
Uh-huh. Finally.
Yeah.
Finally. I love that when we get to the table, we start with Gabby thanking Britney for not lying about her. And this is the point I want to make up, and I think Britney noticed that she slips too, is right after Gabby says, I just want to thank you for saying I'm a faithful. Also, like, I feel like if it had been Danielle or something, because she's a traitor and she's so backstabby, like, she would have told everyone I was a traitor. And then Britney replies, yeah, I just didn't have it in me to, like, put up a whole act or anything. And then she goes and, like, zips her lips back up, because why the fuck would she have to ever act if she was a faithful? Yeah. Why would she even have to worry about if she had it in her to put up an act? Dylan doesn't jump on the moment. He doesn't seize this. This happens to him every time. If he actually listened to the words these people were saying, they're revealing their truth, but he doesn't seize it because he's so worried about what he has to say.
What he wants to say, yeah.
He's not...
But that flew by me, too, though. I didn't really catch that.
Totally. But this is where I'm good, is I know how to flip people's words, whether I'm a good guy or a bad guy. If I want to get you out, I'll figure out a way. And Dylan... he's not a debater, and I think that's one of his biggest flaws, because as we get here, we get a little back and forth with Ivar and Dolores talking about each other. Just fucking stop. Ivar, I do not do drama. I've been in the public eye. No, you haven't. No one knows who you are. That's why you're on this show.
And they're not even, the things they're saying are not even arguments. It's
I literally think the producer said, can you guys bring each other up? Because you're really not in the storyline at all. You're just kind of here. So Dylan brings up Britney, and then she flips it back on him strong, like we said. She really does lay it all out. She's kept the receipts. Talks about every move Dylan made. Talks about how much he wanted to be the seer.
Yeah,
and Dylan's
that was a big one.
Right, but he was so unprepared he couldn't turn it back. Mm-hmm. If she says this to me, you know what my flip is immediately? I could tell how badly you wanted to be the seer and how disappointed you were when you didn't get it. And I would have replied, I wasn't disappointed I didn't get it. I was disappointed that you did, because I wanted to use the power on you because I know you're a traitor. And you being the traitor and getting the power is useless to the faithfuls. Boom. And then she's on her heels.
Yeah, that's but then it's but at that point it's just
so you're just refuting her.
But
points.
You have to, but you have to say something.
And if you can refute points like that and make it that logical and be that firm with it, whether you're the traitor or not, it puts the other person on their heels. None of these people are like trained debaters. They're all either gamers who are used to like the physical games, or I mean, I guess Big Brother's the closest to this. They do the lying and backstabbing a little more, and there's some in Survivor, I suppose, but it's more about the physical challenge shit.
Yeah, I think it's easy enough to just say, I just couldn't let I just could not let the traitors win.
These people
win the freaking seer. That's
yeah,
easy
exactly.
enough.
But these people just aren't debaters.
Yeah.
I think if you're a housewife and you're getting ready for the traitors, work on your debating. Don't worry about lying. Forget about lying. Just work on your debating skills. Work on arguing with people without screaming. Work on arguing while keeping an even tone, without raising the level. I think that's how you win this game. Because honestly, Britney's argument is great, but then it gets amped
loud.
up.
Yes, and
amped up, and it gets too aggressive.
And
every faithful's not going to be aggressive.
Every time somebody's been aggressive, they have been traitors.
Yep, a faithful's not going to be that aggressive. She had to go hard, and I understand, but I think that's what did her in, is that she had a great thing. But I will say, Ivar was kind of an asshole here. When she says, "Do I seem meek to you, Ivar?" Which I guess she did ask. And he says, "Yup." He goes, "Compared to Danielle? Yeah. Compared to Bob? Yeah. Compared to Rob? Yeah. Honestly, Britney, you might be one of the most meek people in this cast." Like, he friggin' meet the Gramster ass. He, like, lays it down and says, "I see dead people." Like, he went all in on Britney. She's like, "Yeah, you're meek." Whew. Damn. But she did go too hard. She made her play a little too obvious, and I think that's why the vote goes the way it does. But I don't know.
And they vote her out.
They do. Britney's the only one who votes for Dylan. Everyone else votes for Britney.
Yeah.
She did wear her
crown.
Her little Parvati signature
More
thing.
white. Parvati.
She seemed mostly mad that no one listened to her argument when they went back. I will say, I brought this up on another episode. The fact that they interviewed them directly after the roundtable because they want them to be in the same outfits has given away the results to me multiple times. Because they showed Britney talking before the vote, well before the vote. She was just talking about going after Dylan, and I could see huge pink-red rings on the bottom of her eyes.
Really?
And I looked at Amber and I go, "Oh, well, she's for sure going home because she just cried like crazy." And she goes, "What?" And I go, "Yeah, I saw it on her eyes. She cries. Because her eyes aren't red like that at the table." And then, boom, Dolores votes for her. Tears like crazy. The way they edit those things, like, if you're paying a close enough attention sometimes, it gives it away.
At the end of it, everyone is just saying how even Dylan says it.
Said it was a great argument. He was almost
she's
convinced.
got all the reserves. She was like, she convinced me.
Yep.
Everybody was like, every single one of them, except for Ivar, said she had all these convincing arguments.
Yeah.
But then they still voted against her.
Yep, they
and
did.
I'm not sure why.
I think that I think they were very impressed with her argument and her argumentative abilities, but I also think that you're looking at a bunch of non-gamers now, right? She got aggressive. If she plays that way at a table with your Boston Robs and your Wesses and your everyone else, the amped upness doesn't affect the table as much. But you got to think about your audience. And her remaining audience isn't gamers anymore. But she's going at him in an aggressive gaming way. They don't like that. That doesn't play.
And again, I get that. But here's the thing. Knowing.
Yeah.
Even if I thought, and this is just a gameplay for me.
Yeah.
If I thought that Britney was the one who is the traitor, I would have voted for somebody else. Because this is the last thing. This is the last deal. You're going down to the finals.
About to go to the Ring of Truth.
Ring of Truth. If there's somebody who knows, you've got that much more. You've got someone to vote against at the final.
Yeah,
and you can convince them
if things go down. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, because if you think they are and you know they are, the whole final, I'm real mad about.
Yeah, so we may as well jump to it. We go straight to the fire of truth, and I mean, we're at like minute 59 of an hour of 4.
Worst ring of truth.
So you literally know the outcome of the ring of truth once you get there because you know how long you've been watching this show. So every single person, very first round, votes for the green. Dolores is the only one who even looks like she's halfway worried about it. Gabby does look at Dylan and say, duh, 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 I'm a faithful, which made me laugh a little bit. But, I mean, yeah, it was obvious that they all were going to win.
I kept just waiting for, like,
I mean, they destroyed
Gabby
the
to
game.
Be a mastermind of
and
this.
Instead, they were all just nice.
Why? I get it. I don't know why you're being, I guess you're trying to say, look.
We're just good people.
Did you watch last season?
People.
Did you watch last season with CT and
Sandra
Trishelle going against and voting out MJ?
Oh yeah, that's right, MJ. Yep, that's right. Yep, and literally, Alan, I'm in your DMs. I swear, me and you get to the end of that game, it's going to be the most exciting finale that you've ever seen. I don't give a fuck about the prize. I give a fuck about you remembering that episode. We're looking for moments. We're throwing that red bag, baby. We're throwing that red bag, and you're going to say, "Why'd you do that?" And I'm going to say, "Wild card." You're like, "What? You've been kind of quiet and just like playing dumb this whole game." And I'm like, "Yeah, bitch, wild card."
The thing is, I think they just don't. The things they're telling us are not true.
Right.
Oh, Dylan is. I think there might be something about it I just don't trust. Okay, I don't really trust Gabe 100%. Really? Okay, if that's the case, then you throw a goddamn.
Yeah.
You don't put your deal down. You put in a red.
Yeah, because otherwise you're gonna lose. You lose if there's a traitor, and you don't 100% trust somebody. Kick them out. It's the game.
And also,
I'm tossing. Ivar, get out of here.
Easiest way to freaking, if you are the traitor, let's say they did have a traitor there. The easiest way to say you're not a traitor, or to prove you're not a traitor, is throw a goddamn red in there.
Yeah.
Because traitors don't want it to go again.
No. Traitor for sure doesn't want to go again.
No.
Traitor's throwing green every time.
Right.
Trader's throwing green
every time. So you know what? If I'm not 100% sure, I want to, even if I was 100% sure, there's no way I'm going to split this with 4 people.
No, fuck yeah. No. Are you kidding me?
That's not good TV.
No, I'm going to make up stories about everybody. I'm going to be like, boom, throw the red thing in there. You're like, why you do that? And I'd be like, I'm not going to lie, guys. I was walking down the hall, and I heard Ivar humming to himself, and he was like, I'm a traitor, and I'm about to win. Yes, I'm a traitor, and I'm about to win. And I heard it straight from his, tell me I'm lying, Ivar. And he would be so confused and so thrown off that I think maybe I could get him out.
Yeah, and you know what the difference is? The difference is between you getting $50,000 and $100,000.
That's a lot of dollars.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot of dollars.
Yeah.
So many dollars.
Yeah.
I could buy a lot of Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
Maybe one whole Elite Trainer box these days.
I just kept thinking, I was like, Gabby's gonna, come on, Gabby, throw the freaking red, and then you can get Dylan out, and then it's gonna be so easy for you to convince Dolores to freaking get Ivar out.
Yeah, and then they could have split it.
So easy.
And then they could have split it. Bummer.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah. Yeah. And all these things they say about how they don't trust somebody. If you didn't trust somebody at all, you would have thrown a red.
Yeah, I think
Unless you thought they were going to vote you out for some reason.
it's funny because I didn't think this was going to be the finale this week until I saw on social.
Yeah, I didn't think it was either.
CAROLYN was posting her reunion dress all over the place because we follow her on Instagram, and you should follow us at Arson Club KC. And she was talking about it being the finale, and I was like, huh. It makes sense that it was kind of a boring finale. Like, that's why there wasn't another episode. They weren't dragging it out anymore. Like, this show peaked at Bob versus Rob and then had a few more really great moments. But then when it became just Danielle CAROLYN, it was just straight downhill because Danielle just tanked it after that.
I just thought that it was real.
I just don't imagine them bringing her back to Deal or No Deal Island or anything. I don't think she was a fan fave.
Who's that?
Danielle.
Oh, Danielle, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, they might bring her back just for that
Yeah, maybe.
purpose. This season was, it was so good.
It was excellent, and then it's
So
huge
good.
drop off. Crazy drop off.
With all of the things going on, and it's just you're screaming at the TV, what the hell's going on? And then the ending was
a big wet fart.
yeah.
A big wet fart. Okay.
I right then it got me. Whenever that happened, when Dolores, I was like, I wish Tom had made it to this.
Oh man, yeah.
I wish fucking Tom had made it to this
Man,
damn thing.
give me an ending.
Jeez.
Here's if you're gonna give me the last 5 people from this whole show at the end of this show. Here's the 5 I want at the end of this show from the whole show. I want Rob and Bob. I want them back. I want Wes. I want fucking Tom, and I want goddamn Dolores, just so Tom and Dolores are clashing while all these other people are trying to freaking con each other.
Wait, 2 deals ago,
Maybe
when
Gabby. She
I
just because she's
called
funny.
I think I called all the freaking
Oh, yeah.
people at the end because I was like,
Oh yeah,
fuck this.
You're like,
Ivar wins.
Yeah, and we do a fantasy league, and I will say I chose Ivar because if anyone followed us in the Burkow season, I was a big Burkow guy. I loved him, did huge speeches. I had high hopes for Ivar. He wildly let me down, except for in the fantasy league, he won. So I won. I have not won before. Nikki Bella was my other choice, of course. Nicole Garcia.
Dun, dun.
Look at that. Champion
Of 4 of these things
I'm
out.
an official master trader. Listen, guys, I want to thank you again for following along with us. We record this right after watching the episode, so I haven't watched the reunion yet, though I think
Me
I'm
neither.
about to go back home and watch that. We're going to record a little reunion reaction for our final bit for this season. I just want to thank everyone for listening. It's kind of crazy that we get to do something where we're just talking about a show with people around the world, but people from London, people from Australia, people from all over the United States tune in to listen to a couple of stupid idiots from the middle of the country talk about a dumbass show on a 3rd-tier streaming site, and I just want to say thanks. It's incredible. I'm glad you're here. Please follow along with us at Arson Club KC on all socials. And if you like our podcasts here and you just love the dynamic, can't get enough, listen to the Bottom Boys. We get to the bottom of all sorts of stuff. Where we just did nonverbal communication. We're about to do. We have one. I actually was out of town, and we have one with a special guest coming up, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, that should be out tomorrow.
Yeah,
actually.
it's going to be great. And I just want to say,
So watch the Traitors, the Traitors, and then you can pop over to
bingo. And so we'll see you again next season, I imagine, unless Alan responds to my DMs and gets our asses out to Scotland, in which case we'll be on the season. Hello. Yeah. Make us stars, Alan. You can do it. Put your back into it.
Maybe we'll play it. Maybe we could get a Traitors game together.
Yeah, maybe we can put together a
with
Traitors.
Some of you guys, if you have enough guys out there.
Yeah, maybe we could put
get
together
one
a little Traitors game.
If you guys are interested, we might try to.
Yeah, maybe we can
pop
do
one
that
together, get it all at one time, and
that sounds
film
fun.
it up.
That sounds fun. So thanks again. Check back with us next season. Follow the Bottom Boys. Follow our socials, and I guess until next time, that's a little bit of a later
Traitors.